Well, we kind of don't want the water. I'd rather take the land that we got over the right side of us. Yeah, but I don't think I swim very well. Ouch. Yes, sir. How's my picture looking? I just want to make sure the colors look right.
Reg, I'm going to ISO.
Okay, you got it. Yeah, how's the pictures look? Is it, I'm not too hot, am I?
All right, so shot only at 10 o'clock, right? All right, so shot only at 10 o'clock, right?
Shot only at 10 o'clock? That's what I'm hearing so far, but...
Okay, because I'll wind up doing a CBS at... All right, so Dave, if you're not going to need me to talk, I'll do a CBS at 10:03. Thank you. Whenever you're not using me, Dave, I'll probably do something. I mean, if you're not going to use me, then I'll do something for CBS. It's up to you. Just let me know. Yeah, yep, that's fine. Unofficially, we were hearing 10:32. That was our last best info, which was not for air, not for broadcast.
Alrighty, looks good. All right, so that they're going to shut down traffic at what time? They're going to shut down traffic what time? About 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock it was supposed to be.
10 o'clock.
I'm looking out the right door on the northbound side. They're still open, but the cops are sitting there waiting.
Yeah, you got a lot of people on Facebook wondering why the traffic's still going across.
Yeah, no, 10 o'clock they were going to start.
Hey Tom, since we're live on air, if you want to give any updates to the public on Facebook Live. Yes. Yes, ma'am. All right, let me zoom into the explosives and the equipment on top of the bridge. Nice little up close and personal. Move it across the span.
Yeah, I still got traffic coming out of Rockland. It's still open there.
You know, once I get to the other side, I'll give a wider view, old versus new.
Yeah, Dan, you can see some of those vehicles, the last few of them, still making their way across. We've been keeping an eye. We're positioned here right over the Tarrytown side of things, and we're out the right door and watching police just sitting there, just waiting to close the northbound lanes of the New York State Thruway. The southbound side, I'm getting a look across, and I don't see a whole lot of traffic coming across there anymore. I still see a couple of vehicles remaining. So the plan here is to shut it right about now in either direction, with that demolition coming sometime within the next.
Water behind us, and there's a lot of people around here. Trust me, the cold is not stopping anybody. We're at Pier 701 in Piermont, and there are plenty of people who came out here for brunch to enjoy a good view of this demolition, and we are now all eagerly waiting. We have been here since about 4:30 this morning, and hey, you guys are out braving the cold with me. You excited for this?
Trying to stay warm, yeah. You can't wait to see this thing blow up.
What about you?
It's gonna be exciting. I've been looking forward to this. It's gonna be great. Families travel over this bridge for over 40 years.
We all have memories like that, don't we?
Yeah. Now it's unfortunately named after Cuomo.
My name's Mario. What's wrong with that?
Are you staying warm? How many layers do you have on here?
Just two.
Oh, that's not too bad.
I'm a big skier, so I brave the elements quite a bit.
Oh, so you're used to this. You're used to this. You know, you have you brought the heavy duty camera with you, didn't you?
Oh yeah. Big lens, pulls the bridge right in.
What do you think about this?
It's pretty cool. I mean, it's a piece of history we get to see.
It is 1955. This bridge has been up since, so 63 years, and in a couple of minutes, it's going to be coming down. So we are all just waiting. A lot of people brought out the big cameras to watch this all unfold. So we are just keeping our eye on the bridge, and we have a perfect view for when it does finally come down. Dan and Betty?
Nothing like coffee, donuts, and a good demolition to start your morning off. Hey, so that bridge was built back in 1955. So let's talk about a little bit, if you would, Katie, about how it's going to go down. I understand the detonations are around the legs. That's where they're going to take this bridge out.
There they are, those little black boxes on the legs right there.
That's what I understand as well. And also, guys, keep in mind that they're taking down the west span of the bridge with they're taking that down piece by piece. That's going to happen later on this year. This one, because it is so structurally unsound, they have to take it down with explosives. They tried to take it down piece by piece earlier this year, and it just wasn't going to happen that way. So they're going to be blasting the legs and getting rid of it.
Boom, there it goes. It's a 672-foot span of that bridge. And Katie, I understand too that they've created a bit of a steel netting that they put around it to, I guess, protect some of the wildlife in the water.
Yeah, because think about it, guys. You know, if you took this bridge down piece by piece, you could physically remove each piece as you're disassembling the bridge. But this, with an explosion, you have to make sure that you're not harming the wildlife, the fish that are in the Hudson. So they are putting this steel netting down to make sure that they catch as much as they can when this all does implode.
All right, Katie, stand by with your hot chocolate right there. Don't go anywhere, because let's talk more about that steel netting that we're talking about. If we can show that shot from Air 11 right now. Here's the thing for the environmentalists out there. There is a group of fish that usually navigate the Hudson River. They're called the Atlantic sturgeon, the Hudson River's largest fish. But that group says, like Katie said, that the demolition at this time of year is most ideal because those sturgeon have moved to other places, and that's why it's safer to bring this span down.
See how much science has gone into this demolition?
A lot of things going into this demolition. What's so interesting, too, about this, if we could show the actual 670-foot span right here, there's still equipment on it. What's that? If you zoom in there, Air 11,
right there.
Reggie and Tom, there's equipment that's still on the bridge right there. This is a bizarre scene to see because this is actually going to go down into the river as well. They couldn't remove this first? I don't know. But you know what? The thing was, when Governor Andrew Cuomo toured this span, that's when they found out it was so structurally unsound and said, you know what, we got to get everybody off right now. So that's why that equipment probably is still there. They had to get everybody off the bridge, and that's why they're actually demolishing this specific section, because it was unsafe for anyone to be on top of it. Now,
a portion, though, of the span will still be visible above the water after the demolition until it is removed piece by piece. But as we mentioned, those explosives are in place, and this is supposed to happen at any moment now. But you see the cars on the new bridge that are still going by, so I assume that's going to stop before the demolition occurs.
Yeah, let's actually find out more from Joe Nicolini in our traffic center about what's happening and when this actual shutdown of the Mario Cuomo Bridge is going to happen and the bottleneck that's going to happen around the area. Joe, what can you tell us about how to navigate around this and when the traffic's supposed to stop?
Well, it was supposed to stop 6 minutes ago, but as you know, not everything goes as planned and according to schedule. So right now we will keep you posted. We can see the traffic, though, still moving here across the span of course, the Mario Cuomo Bridge right next to that Tappan Bridge. And we're being told that the thruway should be closed from exit 11 into exit 9, and that's in both directions, as you can see here. So Route 9 into Route 9W. In the meantime, I'm just going to tell you right now, traffic is a lot lighter than usual, although there are still some cars going across the span of the bridge. So again, I think people have heeded the warning and now realize that they need to stop, because 45 minutes we're being told at least this is supposed to be closed for them to do the implosion. Now, alternate, head up north, Bear Mountain Bridge. Why not? It's a beautiful view up there, right? Isn't it? A little bit chilly, but definitely take a look up there, take a peek, or you can go further north if you want to get around this right now. The Newburgh Beacon Bridge, another option, and again, right now you are delay-free here. Of course, another option, you could head down south on the Hudson, and you can go over the George Washington Bridge. Right now we're being told delays there on both decks, about 25 to 30 minutes. The Lincoln, about 25, and the Holland, 20 minutes. But again, you have your other Hudson River crossings as well, further south, but usually those are going to be more congested. So again, you may want to head up north like this. In the meantime, we will keep you posted as we're looking up that camera shot. If we can pull it back up 1 second here, we could check the traffic across the span. As I see it at the corner of my eye at my producer's desk, I do still see cars there across the span. I guess we'll wait and continue to see, of course, when they do actually put this full closure in effect. And now we have a live look from Air 11. And as you can see, traffic's still going. But as Tom Kaminsky up in Air 11 did mention, there are police on either side of the bridge getting ready to close this off. So I'm sure they have to do what they have to do, and they're going to give us the warning, I guess, to all commuters momentarily. They will stop the traffic, and of course we'll keep you posted here in the traffic department as far as any delays and any other closures around the surrounding area. In the meantime, we'll head back to you now, Dan and Betty.
All right. And just to let you know, when it comes to shutting things down, there's a 2,500-foot safety zone around that demolition site to make sure that no one gets injured in this. But as Jill was saying, that traffic does have to stop at some point in order for this to occur.
It's a picturesque day out there for a demolition. And let's go over to meteorologist Byron Miranda, who can tell us more about the winds and how the forecast really ruined their event over the weekend because there was heavy winds, and today's a much different day.
Yeah, the winds aren't as bad, but you know, I want to ask you guys and ask Tom to zoom in. I want that crane.
Yeah, because that's supposed to go down. Is that supposed to go down with it?
I don't know, but let's zoom in on that. Let's see, because if nobody else wants it, I'm going to go get it, and I'm going to park it in front of my apartment building, and then I'm going to rent it out. That looks like a good crane, doesn't it? Look at it, Betty.
It looks perfectly sound to me, but who knows?
It's got good paint on it.
You're saying you could salvage it some way,
I can salvage that. So tell whoever, I'd like to get that crane before you let it go down. Now, the winds right now sustained somewhere between 10 and 15. That's not bad, so that's good news. We only have wind gusts in some areas. Most areas, no wind gusts. It is cold outside, so the workers are dealing with basically temperatures in the teens for feel like. 19 New York, 10 White Plains, Jersey City 23, Smithtown's at 20, Bridgeport's at 23. So we're in the teens to the low 20s. Your high temperatures today, we're pretty much where we should be for this time of year. We're going to see mid-30s to upper 30s. So we'll go, well, actually, low 30s. 34 East Fishkill, 38 Hoboken. We'll be in the mid-30s for Westchester, about the same in Bridgeport, as well as Long Island. 37 for the Big Apple, the greatest city in the world, as I like to say. And we're going to warm up. Take a little bit. But high pressure is to the south of us, so that will give us a westerly southwesterly breeze with more sunshine tomorrow. Warmer air over us is going to feel pretty good. And then we're watching two storms. This is storm number one. This is definitely going to bring us some snow. The question is how much. Storm number two, now that's debatable how much snow it's going to bring us. See that warm front right there? That warm front is really the thing that we have to watch because the air may be too warm for snow. But first, storm number one. This shows you Friday at 4:30. Look at this, Betty and Dan. We got some snowflakes flying. So we'll take another look at that a little bit later. ByronPIX 11 on Instagram if you want updates. ByronPIX 11 on Instagram. Back to you guys.
All right. Thank you, Byron.
At 10:10 this morning, we are taking some final looks right there at the old Tappan Bridge, where we are waiting any moment now the demolition. Air 11 standing by. We have reporters on the ground. We are all over the story to bring you the moment it happens, but we do need to squeeze in a quick break.
Absolutely. So keep it right here. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Got a police boat in the water right in mid-river.
Okay, 30 seconds.
That has been the plan here, that just before we get ready for demolition time, that everything on the New York State Thruway is going to be stopped, and it is now stopped both ways. We are shut down on the southbound side at exit 11 in Nyack, and we are closed here on the northbound side in this area of exit 9 in Tarrytown. Now, there have been a number of vehicles up behind that police barricade. Not too many, though. A lot of folks certainly had a lot of advance word that this was going to happen. So in terms of any kind of traffic delays, we don't have them, but the New York State Thruway is definitely closed until this demolition takes place. 672 feet long is that stretch of the East Anchorage span of the old Tappan Bridge, standing 140 feet above the Hudson River, but not for very much longer. Now we're live over the Tappan Bridge. I'm Tom Kaminsky in Air 11. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Tom, thank you. You know what? I'm going to give you a bit of a history lesson right now. Let's keep these live pictures up, Dave, and I'm going to talk about what happened here. You know, this bridge was a concept in March of 1952, all right? In December of 1955, that's when the bridge actually was completed and opened to the public, originally expected to bring 100,000 cars over it daily.
That's it? Well, it did more than that.
Quickly, in the first year of it opening, it grew to 138,000 vehicles per day, making the need for that bridge so apparent. But that's also what, over the course from 1952 all the way till now, it even went up higher than that.
To
and they didn't anticipate
140,000,
and they did not anticipate that many vehicles traveling it over per day. So it was structurally unsound throughout the years because of all the vehicles that were traveling on it.
And it's only a 3-mile bridge, just to give you an idea of how long this is. Now, as you can see, it has been replaced by that big, beautiful Mario M. Cuomo Bridge in the background there. $4 billion structure is what that one costs. But the old Tappan Bridge, like Dan was saying, opened back in 1955. So you're going to be watching history basically be, you know, demolished into the water in just a matter of minutes.
Speaking of history, Betty, let's talk about the name, the Tappan Bridge, okay? It actually came from pre-colonial days. Tappan, after the Native American tribe, and Z, the Dutch word for sea, which became a fitting name, obviously, because the bridge crosses the Hudson at one of its widest points along the stretch of the Hudson River.
Well, thank you, Professor Dan.
That's my history lesson for the morning.
All right, let's go live to Pix 11's Diana Rocco. She is live in Terrytown. Actually, she is standing by, waiting, just as the rest of us are. We're going to go to her in just a second. But just to give you a little bit more information, this was supposed to come down in pieces, as we mentioned a little bit earlier. But unfortunately, because this section right here was so unstable, they've decided that they're going to implode it, or demolish it, I should say, and they're going to take it out at the legs. But there's a lot of science that went into this. Not only has the U.S. Coast Guard created that 2,500-foot safety zone around it, though, barges will pull up afterwards and take the remnants away from the river's navigation channel. We mentioned that steel netting that's been placed in the riverbed. It's going to help trap some of those demolished pieces for a marine salvage company to recover over the next few weeks. So just because it's coming down today doesn't mean it's over. They're going to have to be pulling pieces out within the next few days and weeks to come.
We are nearing the demolition because you see no cars happening across that span right now. So the anticipation building on the ground at some of these watch parties. Pix 11's Katie Corrado. She is near the bridge along the waterfront for that front row seat. Where's your hot cocoa?
I already finished it. That's my second one right now. I gotta get a third, you guys, because it's so cold out here. But you know what? It's a really good time. Everybody's got their eyes just glued to that bridge. We are waiting. You notice the traffic has already stopped. We're at a watch party here. Dennis, this is your restaurant. Tell me what's going on here today.
Well, we did have a good turnout, you know, being a Tuesday and all. I mean, of course, it would have been much better on a weekend, but still plenty of people showed up. The lot is packed. Everyone is walking on as well now with the beach, serving Bloody Marys, mimosa, hot food. So it's going to happen soon. Traffic, I see, just stopped out there, so I guess it's going to happen very soon.
Now, you grew up here. What is it like to watch this bridge come down?
Well, it's always been a monumentary, you know, the Tappan Bridge has been around forever. I mean, as a kid, we always water skied through here, went through the boats through here. And now to see this nice, big other bridge here, I guess it's, TZ Bridge is already halfway gone, so welcome the new bridge.
And how many people do you have here today at Pier 701?
We had, you know, right now, I'm going to say with the viewing and everything, there's close to 400 people here.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That is a lot. Let's talk to some of these other people over here. Guys, how are you feeling right now? Cold?
Excited. Yeah, the energy is high, so we're not that cold. But, yeah, we're very excited for the bridge to go down, and as is everybody that's standing here waiting for it to happen.
How does it feel? It's been here, you know, for 63 years. It's not going to be here anymore.
I'm a 54-year lifelong Rockland resident, so the bridge means a lot to me. But I'm glad to see it go and start the new phase of everything that's happening in the Rockland County.
A new page for sure. Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys. Yeah, we are just going to keep warm as best as we can. Everybody's got their drinks, their hot chocolate, and we're keeping our eyes on that bridge. Dan and Buddy?
Did that guy say he was drinking mimosas?
Yeah, on a cold morning like this. I guess you got to try to stay warm however you can.
Yeah. There's Bloody Marys, there's mimosas, there's coffee, there's hot chocolate. Look at this. Look at this.
It's a party.
They put me right by the Bloody Mary bar.
Wait, where is it?
They put me right by the Bloody Mary bar. Look at this.
Look at this party.
We're at Pier 701 in Piermont.
Wow, how many people would you say are there?
How many drinks are you making here?
Oh, I'm making a lot.
Now, how many
Bloody Marys, mimosas, hot chocolate, we got everything.
How many people would you say are there right now to watch this all happen? Is that the crowd?
About 400.
Wow.
That's what Dennis, the owner,
Really?
just told me. About 400.
Oh, wait,
great.
you know what
No
that
big
says,
deal.
though? This is history that's coming down. That's what it says. People... oh, here we go. Oh, they faked us out.
That was a false alarm. That was a false alarm.
That was a practice round. That's what we like to call
down
it.
here, so that's how that was.
Like the little practice round. Although, you know, we had watched all the traffic on the new Mario and Cuomo Bridge stop there. But then, while you were talking, Katie, we saw a few stragglers go by. So we're wondering how long it's going to be from now before this demolition gets underway. But as you know, as you can hear there, folks are ready. They've been waiting. They're all, they have drinks in hand, and they've been practicing this demolition countdown. So let's take you over to Pix 11's Diana Rocco. We keep trying to get to Diana. We're going to get to her in a minute.
Hard. You know, they do that false countdown because that's what you get when you mix a bunch of people out in the cold with some mimosas and Bloody Marys. They get very excited this early in the morning. But let's find out how the traffic's holding up right now because, you know, all of this is shut down right now. This is creating big bottlenecks in the area. So Jill Nicolini's in the traffic center filling us in here. Good morning, Jill.
Well, good morning. As you can see there across the span, it has been officially shut down between exit 9 and 11. We're talking about the New York State Thruway, but we did just see a few stragglers, and there was some police activity. So it looks like they're probably spanning the bridge, double, triple checking, of course, making sure everything is free and clear from the span of the Mario Cuomo Bridge. Once again, Tappan Bridge, of course, we're still waiting for this demolition to happen. And what we're going to tell you about right now is the traffic conditions. Honestly, around the area, things look good. You got all green to go. I think people heeded the warning of the closure, which was supposed to start at 10 and last until 10:45. But obviously, it seems clear that things are taking a little bit longer than expected. But to help you and your commute right now, I want to warn you and just give you some advice. You can go up, of course, to the closures I just mentioned to you. You can go up to the Bear Mountain Bridge, right? No problems up there right now. It is a good alternate. Of course, you got to head a little further north, but it's a beautiful view up there in Bear Mountain. If you've never been, I used to go as a child. I still love it up there. Further north, take a look. You can go up to the Newburgh Beacon Bridge. And actually, my father just called me to warn me and to tell me, Jill, you should be telling them about the Mid-Hudson Bridge. Well, of course, that is another alternate if you live a further north. So again, this is definitely some of your better bets, or the George Washington Bridge. Now I'll send it back to the desk.
Thank you, Jill. Okay, we want to take you up live to Tom Kaminsky in Air 11. And Tom, we are hearing that there's going to be some kind of a horn that blows before the demolition actually occurs. What do you know about this?
Stand by for the horn.
Well, that normally is what happens when you do have a controlled demolition or any type of an explosion like that at a demolition site. You do get the loud horn that blows just to alert everyone. Now, the issue, though, is that that's not really going to be able to be heard from the shoreline. So, you know, we're going to have to try to see what we can see from this angle, and certainly even at ground level, it's doubtful that that's going to be heard. But what we have seen just in the past couple of minutes are the last few state police vehicles doing a security sweep back and forth across the new bridge, but everything is shut. The New York State Thruway is absolutely closed there from exit 11 in Nyack right through exit 9 in Tarrytown, and you see those last couple of vehicles there doing that safety sweep before things really do get underway here. And again, we're waiting just like you are. We're hoping to get about a 2-minute warning before this occurs, but the New York State Thruway is at this point shut down. Dan and Betty, back to you in the studio.
All right, well, you listen closely for that horn because it might be hard for us to hear. But I'm glad that you clarified about the vehicles that were going back and forth across the bridge, because you had told us earlier and we had seen that it's shut down, which it looks like it is, but then you'll see a car every now and then go across, and those are some of the vehicles making the security sweep.
All right, let's get you some information about the bridge right now in case you're just tuning in. The whole thing will take less than 30 seconds, all right, for this 6,500-ton section of a 672-foot-long span, to come down, which weighs 6,500 tons. Can I talk right now? 6,500 tons of debris. 2,500 feet is what the safety zone is around that area. And by the way, this bridge opened in 1955, and I was doing more research to give the history lesson.
Yes, Professor Dan.
$81 million is what this bridge cost to build from 1952 to 1955.
That was a lot back then.
That was a lot back then, but guess how much the new bridge was? The
$4
new
billion?
bridge was $3.9 billion. Correct,
Yeah.
Betty. You get an A.
Thank you. I was listening very closely. And to just give you a little bit more history about the bridge, the once 3-mile bridge carried 140,000 cars over the Hudson River each and every day at its peak. And as many of you well know, it connects the Westchester and Rockland counties. And it, is going to be a memory in just a matter of minutes. It's really kind of sad because, as you saw, a lot of folks that are out there with Katie Corrado, they're saying that their family has driven across this bridge for some 40 or 50 years. I mean, this has been a part of what they woke up and saw and drove over on a daily basis. And now we're watching that piece of history in just less than 30 seconds be plunged into the Hudson River and dismantled in pieces after it's been demolished.
And so we're learning that parts of this bridge were taken down piece by piece. But this specific span, the one on the right-hand side of your screen, the one closest to the Westchester side, that was just too structurally unstable to put anybody else on the bridge. Too many cracks on it to have anybody in there to remove it piece by piece. So that's why they're demolishing this section, which will then fall into the Hudson River, into that steel netting, which will then take it away.
Hey, let's get a close shot of this. If you would, if it's possible, Tom and Air 11, of the construction equipment that's still on that bridge. We were talking about that a little bit earlier, and it seems a little odd, especially if you're thinking about, this being demolished in a matter of seconds. Why do we see construction equipment on there? Well, there's a reason for that. Yeah, and the reason was because it was so structurally unstable, and Governor Cuomo toward that bridge that they were able to actually get off that bridge, say, you know what, this is too structurally unsound for anybody to be on. So they left everything on there. They took everything down around it, but had to leave that equipment on it. And that's why they're bringing that down. But that's why they have the netting there. So it won't hurt the wildlife that's in the water. But this is really breaking meteorologist Byron Miranda's heart, because that's a good piece of equipment right there that we're just going to say sayonara to.
Explain that to me again. Why is that good? Why is that going down?
That specific section?
Well, no, the crane. I want the crane.
The crane's going down because while Governor Cuomo toured the bridge, let me say this again. Okay. It was too structurally unsound to have anybody else on it. They found too many cracks. So they couldn't take it down. They couldn't go back on it. They didn't want to risk anybody's lives. Oh. So they said, you know what? Let's get everybody off, keep that equipment there, and then we'll put some steel netting into the water. Everything will fall into the netting, and then they'll drag it away out of the river.
So you're saying the government's going to tell me I can't have the crane if I go get it?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a perimeter right about now, Byron, that you won't be able to crack, but wishful thinking.
Well, I can tell you the winds won't really impact them today.
That's good.
That's good news. But it is chilly. So where are all the people right now?
Well, there's a few. There's watch parties all along both coasts, from Rockland County to Westchester County.
And a lot of them are stuck in traffic, waiting for this to happen, because they did shut down both portions, both lanes of the Mauro M. Cuomo Bridge.
So explain to me again, how does it go down? Because I see the little black things.
If they can zoom in to the legs of this bridge, they're cutting it off from the legs, and that's where the controlled explosion will take place. Those little black boxes are the explosives. And from that moment, it'll cut it off at its legs. It'll fall right into the water. And you were mentioning the watch party. So let's get back to Katie Corrado. She has some new guests with us this morning. They're enjoying Bloody Marys, mimosas out there.
It's a good time out there.
We're listening for that horn, Katie. Where's that horn?
Dan and Betty, I'm the only one not enjoying a Bloody Mary out here right now. There's about 400 people here at Pier 701 in Piermont. Just take a look at how many people are out here. You just need something to keep. You're doing the Bloody Mary.
One of them, yes.
Are you enjoying yourself?
Yes, I am.
Are you freezing?
Cold. It's a little cold, but not bad. Nice, sunny.
You are all bundled up. How do you feel?
I feel awesome.
Because you have
I have a brunch in a cup.
That's a great way to describe it. Are you? How do you feel about watching this bridge come down?
It's sad, but it's cool at the same time.
How do you feel about it?
I'd like to see the bridge come down. It's too old.
It's too old. I feel like we've been waiting too long now.
Up in South Nyack all these years, and it's time for it to come down. It's a new, nice bridge. It's a new Tappan Z bridge.
So you feel good about it. You said it's kind of sad to see it come down.
It is kind of sad. It's just something I grew up with, but at the same time, he's right. It needs to come down. I just want to see it blow up.
You said it. You said it the best. We just want to see it come down. So we are still waiting. We noticed the last cars coming off of it a few minutes ago. We understand that was for a security sweep, so you can see the bridge is all clear, and we are just waiting for that big blast. Dan and Betty.
Hey, let me ask you, Katie, how long have people been standing out there? I know there's been a lot of anticipation, and it's a bit of a party atmosphere, but have they been out there for hours waiting on this?
So breakfast started here at 8:30 this morning.
Wow.
Nobody was really outside until about 10 o'clock, though, I would say. They were smart, and they were staying inside where it was warm.
Of course they were. They had to stay warm because it was so cold out there. And this thing, we've been waiting a half an hour now since we came on the air for it to come down. So I'm sure they're freezing out there, which is why they got the mimosas and the hot cocoa and the Bloody Marys. Hey, by the way, I have to say, from the time the old Tappan Zee Bridge was defunct to the time now, they never raised the toll to the new one. It was just $5 to get across from one side to the other. $4.75 if you have Easy Pass. I just am full of fun facts today. So from the time that bridge closed to the time the Mario Cuomo Bridge, I thought they would raise the price, but they never did.
Well, don't speak too loudly, Dan, because there's a possibility that it could happen. Speaking of things about to happen, that's going to be gone the way of the dinosaurs very soon. So take a good look at the old Tappan Zee Bridge, because it is going to be demolished in just a matter of minutes. They have the explosives in place, those black pieces around the legs of that bridge right there. And once they detonate that, it is going to come down into the water. Let's take you up in the air right now to Air 11's Tom Kaminsky, who has a really good bird's eye view of this bridge. Tom, what's it like for you? I mean, you've been traveling over these bridges, high above them, watching them for years. This has got to be a little bit of nostalgia that is going to be demolished before your very own eyes today.
You know, Betty, I've been doing this for 30 years. We've watched these bridges get built. Now I'm here long enough to watch these bridges get taken down, and that is the case here in this eastern anchorage of the Tappan Zee Bridge. The explosives are in place, and if Reggie Harrison can zoom in there on one of the legs, you could see where that's set up. The wires are set right up to it. There have been the preparation work has not only been putting those explosives in place, but making very specific cuts in that steel. So this way, once those explosions happen, it will fall in the exact direction that they want this thing to fall. Which is going to be toward the south and toward the east in that cleared out zone, going toward the Tarrytown side. So again, for at least a half hour now, we've had everything shut down here on the New York State Thruway across the brand new span of the bridge. Everything closed between the Tarrytown side and the Nyack side, and at this point we are just waiting for the 2-minute warning like you guys are. And Betty and Dan, back to you in the studio.
Tom, let me ask you, if you could zoom in, you see those purple wires there? Is that part of the demolishing equipment to make sure it kind of stays together? Or was that just trying to keep it structurally sound?
We've been looking at that since early this morning, and we don't know whether that is part of the explosive charges or whether that is actually going to be used in order to pull those legs of the span in the direction that they want them to go. That's certainly in that the way that they would like them to go, but we will see exactly what happens with that. They appear to be a little bit more taut now than they were earlier this morning.
I'm getting nervous, Tom. Let's get that wide chat back up. We're at 10:32 right now. We're about that time that this could happen any moment now. And again, this is about a 672-foot section of the old Tappan Zee Bridge about to come down into the Hudson River. And Tom, while we have you here, let's talk about some perspective. I remember when they first announced that this bridge was going to come down, I went to exactly where Katie was, and I spoke to some people who said that this bridge was a bridge everyone loved to hate, because it was so decrepit. You'd drive across it, you'd white-knuckle it in the rain. Tom, I'm wondering, did you ever drive over it? Do you have any memories driving over this bridge? I have to say, I drove over this in the rain once, and I was terrified. But it's the bridge you love to hate. It gets you from point A to point B. Tom? I left him speechless. I left him speechless.
The question was just too baffling,
Yeah.
Dan. That's all right. We'll get him back in just a moment. But we are just, as we've said, minutes away from this demolition. What we're told is you're going to hear a horn blow at some point, and that will give you a bit of a warning right before they detonate this, and then the bridge will be taken out by its legs and then fall into the water. And the whole experience here, this whole demolition, is only going to take about 30 seconds or less.
Guess what? We can finally go to PIX 11's Diana Rocco. She is live in Tarrytown, New York this morning. Diana, we've been waiting to talk to you and find out your perspective and what people are doing over where you are. Good morning.
Hey, you guys. Good morning. You know, we've been weaving around the roads here trying to get you the best vantage point of the bridge, and we're on the south side now. If you take a look over my shoulder, you can see just how close we are, and we've got hundreds of people who have come out here to the Lyndhurst Mansion in Tarrytown. That's where we are this morning to see this demolition. We're right next to the Metro North train tracks, and they have stopped the trains. Not a train has gone by in the last 5 minutes or so, so that should tell you that we are getting very close. With me, I have found a few people who have come out to see the demolition this morning. I've got Sarah, and tell me your name again.
I'm Sarah.
You're Sarah, and this is Allison. Come on over. So what brought you out this morning?
So I've never seen anything like this. It's something new. I've never seen a bridge get blown up before, and you know, I've lived here my whole life and it's always been there, and I just thought it would be exciting to see it for real.
Now, are you guys sad to see this bridge go, or you think it's about time?
I think it's fine. I think the new one is great. It's going to help traffic, and it's a beautiful bridge.
Okay, Allison, what brought you out?
Yeah, so we've lived in the Hudson Valley our whole lives. We've been crossing over the Tappan for years and years, so it's just an interesting experience.
Something you've grown up around, right? It's iconic to this area.
Yeah, it's historical. We'll never get to see this again, and you know, it's the end of an era.
Tell me what time you guys got out here this morning.
We were here about 9, so we've been out here for a while.
Are you surprised at the crowd?
Actually, I thought it'd be a lot busier.
Okay.
I heard there's supposed to be about like 200 people, and it's a lot slower.
Okay, well, we'll wait and see what happens, right? It's exciting, and it sure is a beautiful but cold morning. I see you guys have dressed well for it. So, all right, thank you both. So, Dan and Betty, you can see we've got, to my count, at least 200 people who have come to this vantage point where we are. They're all waiting. The cameras are out, the phones are out, and everyone's bundled up. So, hopefully it'll be any minute now. And, of course, we're going to be here for every moment of it. Let's send it back inside to you guys.
Absolutely. You're watching people even behind you standing there just with their eyes dead set on this bridge, because we thought this was going to happen at the top of the hour at 10 a.m. around that point, and now we're 35 minutes into it, almost 36, and we're still waiting for it to come down. I'm sure there are a lot of last-minute preparations because, look, you don't want to take out a bridge and not have all the safety precautions in place.
Right. You know, do we still have Diana with us? Is she still there? Hey, Diana, I just have a question, because where Katie Corrado is, Katie Corrado's live shot, we saw people having a party, they had food, they had mimosas. I'm just wondering, is yours just a little tamer over at that mansion? Am I leaving everybody speechless today? Is this thing on? Am I leaving everyone speechless?
You're having that effect on people today,
I'm having that
Dan.
effect. I'm afraid to look away, because I'm afraid if I close my eyes, I'm going to miss this demolition. I've been waiting for. In true New York City fashion, though, we're 36 minutes late on this demolition.
That's all right, because when it happens, it will be on replay all day long. Trust me. You want it. But the cool thing about it, though, is that we're live right now. So when it happens, you're going to be watching it as it happens. You're going to see this piece of history go down. And like I said, and throughout the day, you're going to see it over and over again, I'm sure. But to be here and to watch it live, there's something pretty spectacular about that, and very special, especially with all the history that this bridge has. It opened back in 1955.
I've just never stared at a bridge for so long.
I've never talked about a bridge for so long.
I know the Tappan Bridge very well at this point.
Let's get another history lesson, shall we? Should we run through when it was opened? And it was replaced by that beautiful Mario M. Cuomo Bridge there, $4 billion structure, although there's still some debate over the name of it, right? I mean, some people are not happy with the name.
Some people wanted it to be called the Tappan. They wanted to keep the name Tappan Zee Bridge. You know, Tappan Zee, like I have in my history lesson here, Tappan came after the Native American tribe Zee, the Dutch word for sea. So that's how they came up with the name there. But yeah, this was built between 1950 and 1952. Excuse me. It began in 1952. It was a concept in 1950, opened in 1955 with the idea that it was only going to carry 100,000 cars from point A to point B. Ended up carrying 138,000 each and every day, which is how quickly they realized they needed this bridge to begin with.
Yeah, and you know, at its height, like you said there, it's a 3-mile bridge, so not that big of a bridge, but it carried over 140,000 cars over the Hudson River each and every day. I want to take you now to Katie Corrado, who's been standing by, and we're not saying just the past hour or so. She has been there since, what, 6 o'clock this morning? So if anyone's ready for this bridge to come down, Katie is. Right, Katie?
Betty, forget 6 o'clock this morning. Try 4 o'clock this morning. I am so ready for this bridge to come down. I think I've watched people go through their 3rd, 4th Bloody Marys. I am so jealous. You, my friend, though, you made a really interesting comment. You're standing on sand, but it's not that warm.
This is not a beach. You don't feel like you're on one. That's for sure.
So how do you feel with this coming down? Happy, sad? What are you going to remember about the Tappan Zee?
It's a little exciting because I traveled it a bunch across the time. My family, I got family in Westchester. You know, but it's a shame because it's Tappan Zee Bridge. It's history. It's been around since what, the 60s?
1955, 63 years.
It's amazing.
Let's come over here. How are you going to remember this bridge, and how do you feel about it coming down?
Well, I've been on this bridge going to Rhode Island countless times, and I got a lot of memories, and it's, growing up, going to Bridgeport, Connecticut, all that, so it's just memories, all memories. That's what life's about, is memories.
By the way, you're a trooper. No socks.
Yeah,
oh, my God.
And holes in my pants. I was like way off.
You are a trooper. You are a trooper. Well, everybody else is drinking hot chocolate like their lives depend on it. He doesn't even have any socks on. Again, we are still waiting. Nothing's been going over this bridge. We are just all glued to this bridge, waiting to hear that horn to signal that it's about to come down. Dan and Betty?
Yeah, I know. We were waiting for that horn. You kept talking about a foghorn that's going to go off before that bridge comes down. You know, I was just doing some more reading about some frequently asked questions, and a lot of people were asking why were some parts taken down piece by hand and this specific part. But, you know, just to clarify what we were saying earlier, engineers were on that bridge. That's when they determined it was so unsound, and he said nobody else is allowed on it. Declared it off limits on September 7th. After they heard a loud pop come off of the steel superstructure while they were standing on it. So at that point, on September 7th, everybody got off. They left the cranes there in place. And that's when they said, you know what, we're going to have to bring this down by explosives because nobody's lives are worth the risk here.
And then when they went to use the explosives, when that became the plan, they were really worried about the Hudson River fish and the wildlife there. So because of that, the U.S. Coast Guard was called in. They've created this 2,500-foot safety zone around the demolition site. And so once the explosives take it down and it causes that span of the river, of the bridge to fall into the river, barges will then pull out remnants away from the river's navigation channel. But the netting, though, that's been placed underneath it will help trap the demolished pieces for Marine Salvage Company to come in and get it. And portions will still be visible. So once this happens, don't think you just won't see it at all. You will still see portions of it sticking out of the water because that's got to be taken out piece by piece. But the good news is, though, they did a lot of science, a lot of scientific study here, and they understood that this particular time of the year is perfect for this type of demolition because there's not as many Atlantic sturgeon in the water, which is the Hudson River's largest fish population. And so the controlled demolition was decided that this particular moment, hopefully within minutes, is the ideal time for this thing to come down.
You know, they're actually warning everybody in the area on both sides of the river here in these communities in Rockland County and Westchester County. They had been telling people for quite some time this is going to happen. It's going to last about 30 seconds. It's going to sound like a set of fireworks. So they were saying if you have any children in the area, they've warned schools about what's going to happen, and also pets. They wanted to remind the dogs that were out there, you know, that this is going to happen. I mean, you can't tell your dog there's going to be an explosion, but you can bring your dog inside. Tom Kaminsky's high above right now in Air 11 right now, and Tom is waiting just like we all are on bated breath for that horn.
And we've been watching some of the traffic here. It is starting to build up actually a little bit on the New York State Thruway on the northbound side here on the Tarrytown side. It has been shut for well over a half hour now as we await here. We're here. We've had a couple of state police helicopters hovering back and forth. There's another one that's crossing right in front of us, which I think is going to wind up right in the middle of our picture here in just a second. And they are waiting here. There's the state police helicopter, so we're all in readiness here. And in theory, as soon as this happens, within about 15 to 20 minutes, we should be able to get the New York State Thruway back reopened. But again, everything's shut now. Everybody waiting. And we're live over the Tappan Zee Bridge. I'm Tom Kaminsky in Air 11. Betty, Dan, back to you.
And Tom, I got to ask you, too, because, I mean, this thing was supposed to go down, about 40 minutes ago, right? It was supposed to be very timed. There was precision to this because it is affecting traffic. I wonder what the holdup is. And as you mentioned, we were warning earlier about the traffic tie-ups. This is only going to make things worse, right?
Well, the word that we had gotten is that the closing was scheduled to happen at 10 o'clock, and the demolition was actually not supposed to occur until around 10:30. So we're late, but we're not quite as late as you might think we are. State police really wanted to give everyone a chance to get the New York State Thruway cleared, get the span cleared, do a safety sweep. All of that has happened, and again now at this point for about the past 10 minutes or creeping up on 15 minutes now, we're just waiting because everything does appear to be in readiness. No one's anywhere near the span at this point, so again we are just waiting. It's a couple of minutes past when it should have been, but we're waiting for it to happen.
Thanks for the clarification, because when we sat in the anchor chairs, we understood that it was going to happen shortly after 10 o'clock on the dot. So, all right, so things are a little bit, I guess, pushed back about 30 minutes.
But, Tom, this is a remote detonation here. Tom, were you working the day that they brought down the Kosciuszko Bridge?
You know what, Dan? I was not. I actually was not working that day. I know Reggie Harrison was talking a little bit about that. He had just said that one of the last signs was that the state police helicopters cleared the area. So we've been waiting for that, but I unfortunately was not working that morning. Okay, well, at least we can get from Reggie there that once the state police helicopters are out of the way, we can expect this to actually happen. But they're bringing this down in a very similar fashion here. The Kosciuszko Bridge, of course, destroyed, brought down in a controlled implosion last year. That's the bridge over in Brooklyn, but they were able to bring it down in a very similar way.
Well, look at the throughway, though. I mean, this is the kind of traffic backups that this is causing. That's why I wanted to kind of get a better idea of the timeline, because we were reporting earlier that it was going to happen around 10 o'clock on the dot, but then listening to Tom Kaminsky, he said it was closer to 10:30. Either way, people are still being backed up for a good. They've shut this down for what it started in full probably about 10:15, so about 30 minutes ago, and you're going to continuously see traffic get backed up even farther because of the fact that we're still sitting here and waiting, and no one is going across that Mario M. Cuomo Bridge.
I think people that were in that traffic were saying, oh, this will happen just real quick.
Right.
It's only going to close for a couple minutes. And here they are sitting in traffic now, waiting just like the rest of us are for this controlled explosion. Do we have Katie Corrado? Is she available to go to right now? You know, as we're talking about all these different areas that people were lined up for, these viewing parties all around the area, people gathered hundreds at different locations to watch a piece of history come down. Like I said, when we first got word this bridge was going to be closed down and a new one was going to be built, people were describing it to me in that exact location where Katie was, in Piermont Park, that this was the bridge everybody loved to hate. So while we go, let's go back to Katie right now. I'm just curious, Katie, if some of those folks actually feel the same way about that bridge from a couple years ago when I was actually reporting on that story. If this was a bridge they loved to hate, so many people just had to travel over that to get where they needed to go.
You know what, Dan? I think they're really loving to hate it right now because we are waiting for it to come down because it is so cold. People are starting to just, walk in place. And let's talk to some more people. Let's see. Let's see. Where do we want to go? Around here. You look. How are you doing? You look cold.
I'm cold. It's cold out here.
What are you going to remember about this bridge?
I'm just ready to watch some history go down. That's it. I've been in a lot of fishing over there. Caught a lot of trout, a lot of bass underneath that bridge. So.
Are you sad to see it go? Do you like the new one?
I want to see the explosion.
That's all you care about.
I want to get back to work. My boss let me come down. He said, watch some history and get to work.
I hope we all get to warm up soon.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So we are all just waiting. It's just everybody out with their cameras, all kind of like frozen solid in one position, just waiting for this. The Bloody Mary bar is keeping busy. The hot chocolate is gone now. So we are just patiently waiting like you guys.
I'm looking on Twitter, and I think everybody's patiently waiting. Everybody on Twitter right now, I just typed in Tappan Bridge. Everyone's saying, can this thing just blow up already?
I know, exactly. I mean, like we said, we haven't talked so long about a bridge, I don't think, in our entire careers. But that's okay. It's going to come down any moment now. But I think a big concern right now, while we're waiting to see this thing be demolished, is the traffic, because it's continuing to build and get backed up farther and farther along the roadway. So let's check in right now with Jill Nicolini to give us an idea of how bad these backups are.
Right now, actually not too bad. I think a lot of people have heeded the warning, obviously, that the New York State Thruway was going to be closed between exit 9 and 11 beginning at 10 a.m. And we know that happened at about 10 a.m. this morning. So checking in with the roadways right now, honestly, the Palisades Parkway, it looks like some heavy delays there. Of course, we have lots of cars backed up. Some people didn't get the memo that this was about to happen. But in the meantime, we can show you our maps if we can here. This is the closure that is in effect. As you can see here, back to the Palisades Parkway, we do have delays, and they're probably supposed to open about 10:45, but since we have not even done the implosion yet, I'm assuming that these roadways will be closed at least until 11 o'clock and maybe a little bit longer. And as far as your alternate, of course, you got to get around this. A lot of people heading down south on the Hudson to the George Washington Bridge, to the Lincoln Tunnel, Holland Tunnel. I know it's a little far south, but some people are doing whatever they have to do. Delays aren't too bad at the George right now, about 20-25 minutes on both decks. Lincoln about 20 and Holland the same. Now, also, you can head up north and go to the Bear Mountain Bridge, the Newburgh Beacon Bridge, or the Mid-Hudson Bridge if you'd like instead. But in the meantime, you can see here, obviously, the Mario Cuomo Bridge still closed down. We are still awaiting the demolition here to happen of this part of the Tappan Zee Bridge. And there's another shot for you can see here. That's the shot we've been using in our traffic center all morning long. That's our shot that we use on a daily basis here. So it is going to look quite different once this all changes, of course, the skyline here. But in the meantime, we'll let you know, of course, when the roads do reopen. But right now, they're going to remain closed as we wait for this demolition. Let's head back now over to the studio. Betty and Dan, any more news you have for us?
We are just waiting, Jill. At 10:49 this morning, I think there it is, that famed shot that we've been looking at for about 49 minutes since we came on the air here of the Westchester side, the Westchester span of this memory that will soon be, really.
Absolutely. And once it does happen and we hear that horn that we've been waiting for, that's going to give us a little bit of a warning before the actual demolition takes place, that demolition is going to go down fast, my friend. So you don't want to get your eyes taken too far away from the live shot, because when it happens, it's going to be less than 30 seconds for that to come down. We're talking 6,500 tons of debris will just fall. That's a 672-foot span that's being demolished. The Coast Guard has, as you can see in some of the buoys around there, put up a 2,500-foot safety zone around the bridge. And, you know, just a little bit of history that we've been talking about. This bridge opened back in 1955. We've been hearing from some of the people at the watching party saying, you know, my family's driven over this bridge for the past few decades. It's been a part of history in that particular area. And, you know, it's a little bit of nostalgia, too, coming down, because a lot of people have woken up and this has been a part of their daily lives.
And, you know, I'm looking on social media right now, and so many people actually saying, I've been staring at my computer screen for 49 minutes watching Pix 11's coverage, and still waiting for this to come down. So we are anticipating, we're with you. We're all staring at the same shot right now, waiting for this piece of history to come down. And we are moments away from it happening, as you can see there, once again on this shot, if you're just tuning in. This is the Westchester side section. Those little black boxes on the legs of that span, that's where the explosives are, and that's where they're going to cut it off at the legs. It's going to fall right into the steel netting in the Hudson River, which will then take it away.
Absolutely, and it's going to happen very fast when it occurs, and it's very precise. There's been a lot of work that's gone into making sure that this happens just as planned and as accordingly, as the different officials and experts and researchers have made sure that there's no safety precaution that hasn't been looked at, and even the wildlife below and the fish in the water, all of that has been taken into account just to make sure everything is done as safe as possible. And possibly that's why we're seeing this little bit of a delay in watching it go down, is because there are these last minute things that need to be dealt with before they demolish it. I don't know, is it a button that they push? Exactly how does this thing go? Is it a big red button that says, you know, push me, and then it goes down? I don't know. Maybe Tom Kaminsky can answer some of that. He's been flying over this bridge for many years.
All four right here of the shots that we have of this. We got you. Oh,
there it goes.
There it is.
What did we say? It would take less than 30 seconds. Byron Miranda's asking where was the horn, because we were waiting on that horn. But I'm sure it was hard to hear from that point. But look at that. Look at the smoke coming off of the water where the bridge has just fallen into the Hudson. That piece of history, the old Tappan Zee Bridge right there, it has been demolished.
Just a memory now, falling right into the Hudson River, right into that steel netting, which is where it's going to float there and then be taken away by members of the Coast Guard. But after 52 minutes on the air, everyone, we got about 10 seconds to action.
Wait, I want to recap that. Here's Betty. Oh!
There it goes.
3, 2, and gone.
Let's go over. Do we have Katie Corrado on the ground right now? Can we go to... Waiting to see from Katie
But you know what's
Corrado.
interesting? If you listen very closely, you can hear some of the people from those watching parties. Well, of course, now you can't hear them, but from the camera that we had, you could hear them all yelling in the background because they'd been waiting for hours and just listening for that horn to blow to give us that little bit of a warning, which we never heard, obviously. And then there she goes, the bridge.
Well, good thing we kept those shots up. We had all 4 shots up at the moment it happened, so you were covered on all angles. Katie Corrado, was it everything everybody hoped for and more?
It was over before it started. We wish that we heard that horn, but there was nothing. And then all of a sudden, everybody's like, hey, it's coming down. The bridge is coming down. So everybody's kind of like, you know, it took 2 seconds and now it's done. Everybody's saying, we missed it. But it happened, and now we're just seeing the smoke. And I think everybody's trying to process the fact that it just came down, 50 minutes of waiting. And now the work is done. The eastbound span of the bridge, all gone.
Yeah, and it's going to be taken out piece by piece. So like we said earlier, even though the legs have been cut off from this bridge and it has fallen into the water with a demolition that really took way less than 30 seconds. I mean, it was like maybe 15 seconds tops. It's going to be taken out piece by piece. So you're going to see this for weeks as you're driving over or driving by it. It's not going to be fully gone just yet, but it's going to take a little work to get it fully out of the water.
Katie, what did it sound like? Everyone was describing it as it was going to sound like fireworks. So what did it sound like? Did everybody have their back to it, heard a loud boom, and turned around?
We kind of heard like 2 booms. The second one was a little bit louder. It just sounded like a firework, but kind of muffled. It just sounded so far away. It was not as loud as I expected, and it lasted for much less than 30 seconds. So this was like 10 minutes, and it was done.
Well, there you go. And now we see all the debris in the water. But that's what everybody was concerned about, was seeing this floating debris. But there is a steel netting that's capturing all of this, which will then take it away to keep that river clean and safe.
And don't worry, we've been told through researchers that wildlife has been protected. No wildlife has been injured in this demolition, at least so far as we know, because the Atlantic sturgeon were the ones that they were really worried about, because it's the Hudson River's largest fish. But A is okay. You see the netting, the barges, the little buoys that are up there. Wow, that bridge went down really fast, but you can see still the shell of it, the skeleton of it above the water there. It's going to take some time for them to get that down.
Yeah, and you can see that that crane and everything went down in the water as well. Tom Kaminsky was the one that was high above watching it all happen, and he was with his photographer, Reggie Harrison, in Air 11. So, Tom, this thing happened in the blink of an eye, but it finally happened. What was your vantage point like from Air 11?
Well, it happened in the blink of an eye, but we did have a really good indication of when it was going to happen. We've talked about that there were 2 state police helicopters that were circling around overhead, and one was next to us. Another had been circling the span. That second aircraft pulled up sort of next to us and then came to a stop. And Reggie Harrison said, that aircraft just came to a stop. I think something's going to happen. And that's exactly the way this occurred. And you saw the span, the steel, sort of lurch a little bit to one side as the legs came out from underneath that anchorage, and there it sits now next to the new span of the Tappan Bridge. The other thing that we noticed is on the span itself, and it's a little difficult to see this, but there were state police vehicles that moved into place there almost immediately after the explosion, just to make sure that everything is secure on the span of the bridge. So that security sweep, that safety check is going to have to happen again before anything gets reopened on the New York State Thruway. But again, that demolition went off, as far as we could tell, without a hitch. We're live over the Tappan Zee. I'm Tom Kaminsky in Air 11. Back to you guys in the studio.
It went off without a hitch and went off very, very quickly within a matter of seconds. I got to ask you, though, because as traffic was backing up and you were talking about the vehicles being in place, making sure all safety was met, we're still seeing the smoke surrounding this. Do you know how long it will be before they open up that bridge and traffic starts moving again?
Well, what they told us was once this happens, we should, within about a half hour, get everything reopened. And again, it is understandable just to make sure that there's nothing on the span, on the new span that may have possibly come off of the bridge. But again, we've been watching we're on the Tarrytown side, so we've been watching the traffic sitting there for close to an hour now and waiting. On the Rockland side, same story on the southbound side of the New York State Freeway. So at this point, it is still shut down from that area from exit 11 in Nyack down through 9 in Tarrytown.
What an incredible shot right there, Tom. Thank you so much to you and your crew up there in Air 11 for your perspective this morning and for our special coverage here. But what an incredible shot to see this span here. History in the making. Now this span coming down, just kind of laying there in the middle of the Hudson River in the blink of an eye, just demolished, and then the remainder piece that's on the Rockland County side will be taken down by hand, and then it'll just be the Mario Cuomo Bridge spanning across the Hudson.
I got to tell you, though, looking at the debris that's left of it, it's kind of sad, right? Because this was history that had been up since it opened in 1955, and now it looks like just a lot of debris in the water and eventually be taken away, and this will all just be a memory. But we will obviously have the tape, though, right, that we can relive and watch over and over again of this thing going down in a matter of seconds. We had to wait, right? We had to wait a few minutes for it to happen. We thought it was going to happen at the top of the hour. It took about 15 minutes for it to take place, but boy, did it go down fast.
Hey, let's leave you with this, okay? In case you blinked, let's throw it up there on the screen one more time of the moment it all happened. I do love the woman in the background saying she missed it, but there you go. We'll have that on our Facebook page on pix11.com. 9,000 viewers on our Facebook page right now tuning in. Hey, from all of our crews that were across the area, this was a history in the making right there, and we thank you so much for watching our special coverage here of the old Tappan Zee Bridge being demolished.
Absolutely. Went down so very quickly. 6,500-ton portion of the old Tappan Zee Bridge, and it was 672 feet long, and there it goes into the Hudson River. Goodbye, Tappan Zee Bridge.
And we now return you to regular programming. We'll be back tonight on Pix 11 News at 5.
This has been a special report from Pix 11 News.